So, welcome back to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. So, it's been a little while since we've been out at the sawmill. Have some red oaks here that we haven't messed with too much. So, we're gonna get those cut up, do some 6x6s. I'm gonna start cutting some stuff for the picnic shelter, as the title says. So, going to start by changing out the blade. So 4-degree blades are supposed to be kind of the best for these hardwoods. So we're going to try that and see how it does. We had some on hand, so we get those. And then go ahead and use this little grapple. Get the log picked up. It works as well or a little bit better than the forks. Definitely, since we have a little bit uneven ground, if we could get this evened up a little bit more, it would be even better. But with the uneven ground, it kind of offsets that a little bit. So this red oak is probably between 3,000 and 4,000 pounds. It's pretty heavy, 62 picked it up okay, but it's definitely closer to its weight limit than not. That is one nice thing about using the grapple here, is you get everything closer to the pivot pins, which is where your maximum, pickup numbers typically come from. So anyway, that's one thing that does help you not having that load stuck out any further. So we get that loaded up, do a quick check on elevation of the pit, and go ahead and get that leveled up a little bit. This one's really not too bad. It's pretty nice. The other chunk of red oak that we have down there, it's gonna have a little bit more waste just in the size, but you can see the top. Even though we got the center leveled up, the top's still not exactly perfectly level. But go ahead and take off a couple chunks, and some of that first piece we took off just didn't really have any I'll say meat to it, so leave it. And then kind of our process here that we've been doing is we're looking for those 6x6s, so we want like a 12-inch piece so we can cut it in half, and then we'll go through and take off, some 1-inch pieces to have that 12-inch section. And then here we take a 6, so basically that will be the size that we want. Cut that off, set it aside, and then we'll be able to square that up. Should still have our 12 to be able to cut that in half to have 2 6x6s. So these seem to be doing fairly well. We do have quite a bit of pulling on these 6x6s whenever we're going through, and a little bit of twisting. We'll need just a couple that are of any real length. Most of them are going to be 7 foot or less, probably. We'll need a couple that are pretty long and straight to span the uprights. So the picnic shelter the concrete pillars that we have in the ground are 12 feet apart, and then a total of 24 with pieces in the center at 12. So we need some 13s, kind of like we've done in the past, to be able to span that and then overlap. So we left these long, but a lot of them will probably be cutting about in half. Because like the height, because with the concrete that's already in the ground, it gives us about a foot. So we probably only need them to be between 7 and 8 feet tall. And then even with notching and having that 6x6 through the top, there'll be plenty of height there, and I don't want it super tall. My main goal is really just for the little tractor to fit under, so that if we want to move stuff around in there, or once we get gravel, to kind of be able to do that. So that's kind of the goal there, and not to have something super tall. There's no need for the 62 to fit under there like we did with this building. So we got that rotated up and kind of got that big chunk off just so that we could, actually kind of, work with this log. Even with it halved or about like this, it's still pretty heavy. And you can see there's a lot of tension on that board. You can see the first end's not too bad. So again, we can start chunking pieces off, like the 7-foot piece that we need from one end, and have a pretty nice straight board. And then the other piece will need lots of small pieces as the angles and different things. I'll try to find maybe a picture and throw it in here to kind of show you what I'm wanting to build. We don't have like an exact spec, but I have kind of some ideas on what I would like. So get this chunked off to, did another 6x piece there, and then we'll, get that. So here we're just trying to get down to that 6. I think we would take this piece off and then get a couple 1x's in there. Yeah, so we were able to get some 1x or 2x material. I think that one we did a 2x, so we could just get that one off. And then have another one here. So we can get down to that 6 number and then, clean it up. So just kind of work with it and see what works out the best to maximize the lumber we get out of it. And you never know when you need some other material that you can utilize to use on other projects. Here's just kind of an outside look at getting some of this cleaned up. Since the camera view that I had before mounted under the sawmill kind of gives you a pretty limited view, so kind of go through. Had one thing you kind of saw before that was just a little too high, so I didn't want to run into that, so go ahead and move it down a little bit, and then got this flipped over so that we could get this into a 6x. So you can kind of see what we've gotten off the mill. So the finished products, quote unquote, kind of put at the back. Things that still have bark on it, put it up a little bit closer so that it can go back on the mill and get squared up. So go ahead and use tractor, kind of getting the stuff from there taken off and get it finished up. So start by getting these big pieces done. So get this piece back on. And again, I think once we square it up, we're able to, get the 2 6x6s out of that. So from this one tree, we're able to get, I think it was 4 or 5 6x6s, and then a little bit of other, 2x material, or 1x, depending on kind of whichever worked out the best. Didn't have any big dives or anything in this, so the 4-degree blade seemed to work fairly well. It's not one of our thicker blades, so it'd be nice to have that thicker blade and wider. I think it does make a difference when cutting this, but the 4-degree seems to work fairly well. I mean, any variation that we had was really in the wood tension and it pulling when cutting through and it being relieved. So we didn't have any wandering cuts from the sawmill this time. I know early on whenever we cut red oak, we didn't really have it figured out yet, so we had some super wavy boards. Haven't had that issue since. I think that was just inexperience in speed and maybe not having it tensioned up all the way, and maybe even not using the correct type of blade. Whereas we've kind of learned more about that and have been able to mitigate a lot of those issues. Not that it never happens, because you could come into a tree that's pretty knotty, and those come into play. But anyway, we're able to get a lot of that kind of eliminated, and found that, you know, if you can, a lot of times we will cut a tree in half and try to, you know, get down to smaller cuts, because the wider cut, the more variation you're likely to have. So go ahead and call it done for today on that one tree. So go ahead and get our sawdust picked up and get the blower out to just get everything blown off. So it seems to work fairly well to keep our concrete clean, get the mill completely blown off so you don't have sawdust build up over time. So detension the blade so you don't always have it tension on it over any long stretch of time. So just get it all blown off, and then just blow this off into the woods, since that's what's just downhill from there. So that backpack blower seems to do a really good job of getting everything cleaned up. So kind of here's a look at what we got. So some 2x material, a couple of 1x's, and then our 6x6s there. So managed to get 4 of those from this one, so not too bad for just a tree that we had to take down anyway. So here's just kind of a real quick video of getting the other log milled up. So I didn't do any actual video, so I'm just going to do a real quick time lapse. It's going to be the exact same process as the other one. You can see we took chunks off 6 inches wide, and then cut down to you know, the 1x's and 2x's, and kind of got some of that stuff cleaned up, so we had some place to set those 6x6s, because they're a couple 100 pounds each. So again, just real quick video getting this one done, and kind of getting cleaned up there at the end. So and thank you for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. I'll have more videos to do on the sawmill in the future, kind of getting the rest of what we need cut up for the picnic shelter. So hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to catch those future videos.